Hello, everyone. For today's episode, we have Tiaz Datta, who is a development communications expert with over 9 years of work experience in the social sector. Thank you so much, Tiaz, for being able to join us today.
Thank you so much, Neha. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I really hope that during our next 15 to 20 minutes of conversation, we are able to learn a lot of things about the development sector and how the development sector has seen a digital shift in the last couple of months. Let's really hope this turns out to be a nice, intriguing session for everyone.
Fingers crossed. Even I'm very excited. When I got to know that I'm talking to students, so it's not been long that I had been one. So and over a couple of years that I have worked, I have been lucky enough to work with bunch of students over a couple of instances, and the idea they get and the kind of enthusiasm that they have, it's really great to be talking to them, and I'm excited to be on this platform. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, for our listeners, if I were to give you a bit of a background about where Tias comes from, so currently, she is working as the communications manager, internal communications for Save the Children India. And in the past, Tias was associated with the government of India, with Oxfam India, and was helping them with a lot of communication strategy and advocacy and bringing good products to us. And she did her post graduation in communications from IAMC. And it is our real pleasure to have her today for the session. Dear, so let's start the conversation. To start with, if I were to ask you, tell us one single digital change that you have seen in the last couple of months post the COVID-19 rise in India. What would it be?
Um, so if you ask me to, kind of pinpoint one single change, it has not been so. So any kind of crisis gets you both. I believe it gives you challenges, and at the same time, it gives you a lot of opportunities. So even this shift towards digital, completely a digital space, had given us a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, we had the setbacks of it.
Right.
So if you see that one major change was basically it has become a very cluttered space. It was already a cluttered space, and now that we do not have any second option for communication outreach specifically.
Right, right.
I won't say programmatic outreach. Programmatic outreach has changed to a lot of extent. Kind of we have started using digital medium, but then the choice of mediums for programmatic outreach is different from that of communication outreach.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to communication outreach, the major two changes that I've seen is basically it has become a very concentrated. So the content is also concentrated with a group. The content is reaching to a group, and so it's very concentrated that way. That is one thing, one major change. And also it's a very cluttered space, and that pushes you to push your limit as a communicator. You
Mm-hmm.
need to be creative, you need to be thinking of a lot of ideas every day, and you really need to be kind of grabbing the attention every time. So you're
Absolutely.
jostling for attention. So basically it gives you a lot of challenge as a communicator, I
Mm-hmm.
think. But yeah, there's a flip side as well. We have seen that since the young people mostly, they are also reliant on digital medium now. So
Right.
there's a lot of kind of cyber crime, sexual harassment, stalking, bullying. So those are the flip sides of digital kind of shift, of course.
Right. So,
So
talking of the sexual harassment, we are definitely going to have a different set of conversation towards the end of the discussion today. But communications profession, especially in the development sector, is something which is comparatively newer, right? And whenever we talk about communications in the development sector, there is a huge involvement of how the digital space would be out there, for our audiences. And it is very lately, I personally think that the development sectors have started to realize the importance of introducing digital aspects to the communications part of it, right? Now, in middle of that, we had the coronavirus pandemic, right? And there is so much of groundwork activities that we do, to showcase the kind of work that the organization is doing. So when it comes to the groundwork capturing of the work, how are you dealing with it personally? How do you make sure that the content that you need to put out for your audiences, how do you make sure that you have the correct digital connectivity in all those areas?
So I would say, the in terms of the ground coverage, of course, it was difficult for content gathering for the people to reach the content. But what I've really felt is that has pushed our boundaries as to get the content closer to you. So we
Mm-hmm.
have seen, rise in citizen journalism. Popular communication platforms or popular content platforms have
Right.
opened their platform for users to contribute their platform. We have seen such a rise of this influencers, so small scale influencers
Mm-hmm.
out there, and they shot to fame with their own story. Like I can remember this influencer Dhuleshwar in Odisha, who
Mm-hmm.
shot to fame with his own story. He went viral. So we had open, there was a huge increase of podcasts where people could just get their audio clips and send it. So those are the kind of innovations that have risen, and I also feel that every organization had grabbed onto those opportunities. But at the same time, so when we started off with this shift in the beginning of April or May, you could see there was a host of webinars being done. But
Right.
soon, but in soon 1 or 2 months we got tired of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had the next. So those were the kind of challenges that we had, that we had to constantly think of innovative ideas and think of getting people or the content closer to us, getting people to contribute. It was no more our as a communicator, you cannot really hold it so dear to you that okay, it's my ball game, but you had to open it to everybody, saying that you come with your content. And
Right.
that had been the challenge, you know
Right.
those kind of mobilization that you have to do to kind of prepare your own communities, so that they feel confident about telling their stories. So those have been the kind of challenges. But I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's you not reaching them but getting them closer to you,
No,
more of
that's
engagement.
a great thing to say. Especially I think we're living in a world where nobody has a patience to use one specific channel for a very long period of time, no matter how creative that is.
Of course.
I
Of
remember
course.
there was a time when we were all crazy about Facebook, how that was like the best social networking platform. But then the importance of Facebook is gradually going down. Of course, today we do have LinkedIn for networking, but who knows how long that's going to last. So that's a great point to say, especially, the points that you mentioned about podcast. I was just reading through one of these articles a couple of days back where it said the regional language podcast in India is going to see a huge boom in the coming couple of
Yeah,
years. Um,
yeah.
so great, the more content we create, the more conversation we start when it comes to podcast making in India, the better it is for, especially for the communications professional like us.
Of course, yeah. Because we are getting, actually, we need to get the voices out there, from the ground. And these are the mediums which have helped people get their own voices out. And it's no more an organization blowing its own trumpet is no more the ball game.
Right.
It's also about having people talk about your work, or having people talk about your engagement with them. And with the social sector, of course, the nerve center lies in what we do with the people, and not only the communication is important, but of course there are a lot more to it. And
Right.
that is the kind of work that we do with the people. And it's even the communication should get those voices out, and not the organization always going out and talking about
Right.
their. So
Absolutely. So, with the drastic digital shift that we all have been facing, what message you would want to give to the young aspirants who see themselves working in the development sector, as a communications professional, or who is not a communications professional, who does not want to be a communications professional but still want to be associated with development sector? What do you think is a new attitude, or what is a new skill that these young students should try learning in this new unprecedented times?
So, as a new skill, I would say, and this is more out of my experience, what I've understood is that, of course, you have your own specialization, but then nowadays, to survive or to actually deliver, you really need to be an end-to-end communicator. So you not really get the content, you need to know how to treat your content according to your audience and whom are you reaching to, and being able to produce such contents. So you cannot really say that I'm a content person and I cannot do post production, or I
Right.
cannot do production. So basically, so those are the kind of skills you really need to know, that you need to be an end-to-end communicator. You need to think of a product and get it from the scratch. So that is one skill that you need to have. Either you learn on job, some people learn on job, like I'm a person who have learned on my job myself. But then there are people actually take such skill in his enhancing activities and stuff. So that is one thing. And the other thing is also that I would say that if you are a development, if you come to the development sector, don't come with an expectation that this will be a very cushy job, or this will be a very 9 to 5 oriented job, then I'm done and I'm going. No, because and absolutely in a humanitarian crisis situation like the COVID situation, or forget about any situation in that way, you cannot expect to be in a 9 to 5 comfortable zone. You so basically what drives you is the other set of human faces that you are working for. So those are the kind of, that is the kind of commitment that you get to this sector. This is not a sector that you come with a very comfortable, with an expectation of comfort.
Right.
You push your limits every day. So the kind of small things. Otherwise, of course, we really I believe that if you are set in a situation, as I started, that it challenges you. When you are faced with a lot of challenge, that is where the innovation starts. So
Absolutely. In
those
fact,
are taken
development
care of.
communications is not even a commercialized course. It is
Yeah,
one course which is being sold by each and every university. So somebody who is pursuing a course like this has to be very passionate about the kind of work that they want to do.
absolutely. And this is also not a sector, especially if you are not high up in the hierarchy. This is not a sector which will also pay you a lot.
Right.
So what really drives you is basically your passion and the commitment that you get to work.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the cause that you are working for, in your own way, you should know that you are also contributing to a bigger cause.
Absolutely.
Or a policy person or a research person, anything, but you are contributing to a bigger cause, and you should be committed to that cause. You should live and breathe that cause.
Absolutely.
Basically.
So, talking of the organization, what is the mental shift that you think the development sector will have to mandatorily take in the coming couple of months because of the work from home culture, or because of the digital nature that has been shifted with their employees working from home, or some reduction of physical interactions that you usually have with their audiences or with the people who are working on the ground? What is one of the mental shift that you think development sector will have to mandatorily take on to?
So mental shift, I would say that you need to acknowledge. So I guess that has been happening. Being a part of the sector, I have felt that this sector has taken care of the personal crisis that everybody was going through. It was a pandemic. Of course, some people had it really bad. Like, of course, we did not have it. We were the privileged ones to not have it that bad. But then, of course, personal crisis for everybody. So I guess those are the kind of sensitivity which is already there in the sector to a lot of extent. So those kind of sensitivity is required. And I guess acknowledging that this is, and as a communicator, I would say that of course you need to be cutting edge. Every moment you need to be cutting edge. You need to know what you are doing, and of course understanding your audience. And you should be, you should have an individual accountability. You are communicating and how you are communicating. So basically it's no more it cannot be only communication, because now you are talking to a group of people sitting in their own comfort, but they want to contribute to the change that you are also trying to create in their own ways. So there's a rise in philanthropy, or that kind of mindset, at least among the audience. So you need to really make it simpler for them to engage, to act, that kind of, so that they are able to contribute with wherever they are.
Right. So
So
acknowledgement and accountability, these are the two things which are going to be very important in
of course,
future.
of course, of course, of course.
Great way to put out, yes. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this on the entire sexual harassment cases which are being moved to the virtual space now? I was reading this one of the articles a couple of days back in the Times of India, where they spoke about how virtual sexual harassment cases are on the rise. A lot of employers are not being treated with proper ethics online, because there are no well defined ethics of how you video call with people or how you have a professional team calls, right? So how do you think this has taken a shift in terms of the sexual harassment cases in India?
I strongly believe that it has not really shifted. It has just expanded. Initially we had a very deep-seated culture of patriarchy, which led to, which kind of banned these perpetrators in the offline space, and now they are on online space also.
Right.
To, of course, access to this online space to a lot of children who do not understand, to a lot of people who are not very tech savvy, or who are not very digital savvy.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, I guess, again it comes back to individual, like, accountability, that if you should be aware, you should keep a check on yourself, what you are talking, what, and also as a communicator or as a social development sector, whatever you are communicating, and there comes the responsibility factor, that you need to make the people that you are interacting with, you make sure that you are acting towards their behavioral change at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
so that are more responsible citizens, they call out such acts, and they are able to feel confident, and they themselves are able to check what they are saying and how they are saying it.
Right.
So it comes from an individual accountability. So, and as a collective, when you are talking to your audience, you should make sure that you are able to invoke those individual accountability in the people that you are interacting with.
Right. Well, that's a good thing to say. But do you also feel that, given this is a very new space, it will be very easy for the person to escape after he or she has done one of these acts?
Yeah, it could be, because as I say, that people are new to this platform. Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, people are new to this platform. We are still not very sure what what basically, that is a very thin line between what it might appear as a very thin line between what comes as a compliment or what actually, when it turns into a harassment.
Right.
So so that is very shady in an offline space also. We are still not very wary of such things, we are still not able to handle such things.
Hmm.
So having those kind of conversation, or having those kind of, to know where you should call out or where you should step in. And I guess it's not everybody. Even if we see that such kind of acts are happening, we should
Mm-hmm.
intervene. No more time that we remain a bystander. Maybe
Yeah.
your might not be. So it's no more, it's a personal accountability, and we cannot be a bystander anymore. Like,
Yeah.
wherever we we have we have kind of encounter such things, it's time that we stand up to it for everybody, and especially for the young people who are on social media all the time. If you see it's been happening with your friend, with your family, just step
Right.
up. So
Yeah.
I guess
We all are anyway
that's how
living
we
in
can
a
check it.
No, absolutely. We all are anyway living in times where there is so much of mental anxieties. That so many of us develop because of the changes in the environment. Lessening of physical interactions with people. So in this situation, it is very important for people to stand up and speak about what's happening. Instead of just thinking that this might be something which I'm misconstruing. Maybe there were no bad intentions. Maybe I'm just overreacting to things. And
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
correctly
yeah.
said, it goes out to the young interns who have just started interacting with the senior officials of the organizations via virtual conferences, via virtual
Of
meetings.
course.
So that's a good thing to say. But tell me, Manik, how are you personally dealing with all the work from home culture? What's happening with it? How was your experience of staying at home for the last couple of months, staying with the family, and just working from your desk? How was it?
I guess, yeah, I was physically with my family, but then of course the work schedules have been crazy. But what has driven me is again my personal commitment and my sincere, the thing that, okay, some maybe those people need me more, and I'm contributing in my own way to the cause.
Yeah.
So that has driven me throughout this phase. Of course, the work schedules were backbreaking, and I guess it was not only with me, with everybody that I spoke to. Everybody working in this sector had it crazy. Was one phase, but then of course, I tried my best to stay connected as much as possible. I spoke to people. I guess I called up one of my my friends who were staying alone, or my family. Every day I made it a point that I was connected more than ever. So I guess those are the kind of personal, I have pushed my limits personally to go out and speak to people.
Yeah.
And understand and talk to them how they are facing it, how they are dealing with it. So I guess that have been, and to know that okay, everybody is struggling at some level or the other is also gets you some kind of empathy towards them, and at the same time acknowledging that okay, I am privileged enough to not have it bad the people are having. So that kind of empathy only comes out of conversation when you talk to people, their stories. So I guess that has been my drive.
Staying connected and having a conversation is the hack during these unprecedented times, I would say.
Of course,
So
yeah.
before we end this wonderful interview today, do you just want to share a couple of lines for the young students who are not very unsure as to where their career is going, who are not very sure as to how things would be once everything is over? And maybe you could keep your answer more specific to students who are willing to work in the social sector in the coming future.
So I would say, so for my personal experience, I started off as a journalist, and this switch to the development sector was more of an experiment, and I did not even know that where I was heading to. But this is a sector which actually leaves you a changed person. So the person I was back in 2012 when I joined my career, when I started with my career, and the person that I am today, I have completely transformed. And I guess this is the sector which is kind of, helped me with that. So if you have an expectation, so as I told you, don't come with an expectation of a very cushy job or a very well-paid job or a white-collar job. You are coming here for a cause, but then come with an expectation that you will be a changed person after 5, 6, 7 years. So if you are willing to push your limits and change yourself as a person, this sector is the best to have that kind of an exposure, I guess.
Great. I couldn't agree more with those words, Tias. And thank you so much again for taking out time for the interview today. And I really hope you learned something out of this conversation.
Of course, a lot.
Great.
A lot. Every conversation, as I told you, it leaves me with something. So of course,
Absolutely.
I enjoy.
And we really hope our our listeners and our viewers also learned something about the development sector, and they will be more motivated to have a bit more clarity as to how the future looks like in this sector. So thank you for staying tuned with us. Thank you so much again, Tias, for your precious time, and we hope to
Thank you so much.
see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye bye.